Bonjour, bienvenue à notre rendez-vous quotidien pour la presse en ligne et en direct sur EBS. Nous sommes aujourd'hui le mardi 12 janvier. Nous avons une unique annonce à vous faire avant de passer à vos questions et je passe la parole à Stéphane qui a de bonnes nouvelles sur le front des vaccins. Stéphane.
Good morning, bonjour tout le monde. Today the European Commission has concluded exploratory talks with the pharmaceutical company Valneva to purchase its potential vaccine against COVID-19. Under the envisaged contract, all EU member states could purchase up to 30 million doses with an option for an additional 30 million more. Today's finalization of the exploratory talks with Valneva complements our already broad portfolio of vaccines to be produced in Europe, and which includes contracts signed with AstraZeneca, with Sanofi GSK, Janssen Pharmaceutica, BioNTech Pfizer, CureVac, and Moderna, and also exploratory talks which we finalized with Novavax. As usual, you will find more information on this in the press release and on our press corner. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This concludes our announcements, and I pass the floor to Isabel Silva. Isabel, you have the floor.
Hello, good morning. Do you hear me well?
Go ahead.
So I would like to ask a question regarding the Yemen situation. Does the EU regret the fact that the United States decided to designate the Houthis as a foreign terrorist group? And in light of that, should the EU revise its role in creating peace and stability in Yemen? Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a question clearly for Peter.
Thank you. Indeed, we noted this decision by the United States. It's not a decision by the European Union, and we are preparing a statement on the issue, so we will issue it in the course of the day.
Thank you. Are there other foreign relations related questions for Peter today? Please only keep your hand raised if this is the case. And I see that Athanasios has a question. Athanasios.
Thanks very much. Bonjour. Finally, the exploratory talks between Turkey and Greece are announced. There is an offer from the Turkish side, which is accepted by the Greek side. What is your comment on this? And would you consider it useful that European Union observer might also participate in these talks? Is there such an option? Did you ever discuss this potential option with any of the other actors? Thanks.
Peter. Thank you, Athanasios. While this is a bilateral issue, we were discussing already how important it is for Turkey to behave constructively towards the EU member states, because the EU has on numerous occasions stressed its solidarity with Greece, with Cyprus, and stressed also the need to solve all the bilateral issues. And the EU is ready to do whatever is needed for our member states if they ask us to support them in any other way. You know that the EU is a community of like-minded countries which support each other, and solidarity is a key word. So if Greece decides that they need support from the EU in these bilateral talks with Turkey, I think the Greek partners know what they need to do in order to get such support. But I can only recall how strong and how clear the EU was in expressing solidarity with Greece in this particular case, and the need to solve all the issues which are between Greece and Turkey behind the negotiating table. So it's good if the announcements and intentions will be finally translated into concrete actions and negotiations.
Thank you. Are there other questions for Peter related to EU relations with Turkey? Thomas, I don't believe that your question is on this. Please only keep your hand raised if the question is on Turkey-EU relations. That does not seem to be the case, so I now go to Thomas.
Thank you very much. I hope you hear me well. The Swiss President Guy Parmelin has given... En fait, si on peut le faire en français, c'est mieux. Le président suisse Guy Parmelin a donné une interview dans laquelle il dit attendre une réponse de Bruxelles. Il critique un peu l'Union européenne pour traîner traîner les pieds sur la question de clarification des accords cadres. Alors, je ne sais pas si vous avez lu l'interview qui est parue dans la presse suisse ce matin, mais je voudrais savoir si vous avez des choses à dire. Et surtout, moi, je me souvenais qu'on attendait une visite ou des contacts suisses à Bruxelles. Donc, je profite pour demander à Peter s'il y a eu bien des contacts entre, je crois, le secrétaire général du CAE, M. Sannino, et Mme Leu, ou quelqu'un d'autre du gouvernement suisse. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, Thomas. Évidemment, nous ne commentons pas des articles et des déclarations qui sont faites par, par des responsables politiques de pays tiers, de pays partenaires comme la Suisse, mais un petit rappel sur la situation. Nous avons un accord dont la négociation s'est conclue. Il y a un commissaire en charge de la finalisation du processus qui est le commissaire Hahn. En janvier, si je me souviens bien, la présidente de la commission a rencontré la présidente de la Confédération suisse de l'époque, Madame Sommaruga, et elle lui a demandé de faire en sorte que la partie suisse prenne les mesures nécessaires pour avancer dans le processus d'adoption de l'accord et de sa ratification par la partie suisse. Ensuite, tout ceci a attendu en fait que se tienne en Suisse le référendum sur l'initiative concernant la liberté de circulation qui devait avoir lieu en mai, puis a eu lieu finalement en septembre. Nous n'avons pas reçu de la part des autorités suisses dans cette période les éléments de clarification qui avaient été proposés par la partie suisse. Ensuite, il y a eu un coup de fil, si je me souviens bien, le 12 novembre, entre la présidente de la commission et la présidente Sommaruga du Conseil fédéral, où il nous a été annoncé que nous obtiendrions des clarifications sur les points ou des informations supplémentaires, sur les demandes de clarification que la partie suisse souhaitait obtenir. Il n'a pas été question d'une réunion à ce moment-là. Il a été question de clarification que les Suisses souhaitent obtenir et d'éléments d'information supplémentaires qu'ils allaient nous fournir. Il me semble donc que s'il y a une partie qui attend depuis maintenant un an des informations supplémentaires, c'est plutôt l'Union européenne. Et bien entendu, nous sommes tout à fait disposés à étudier les éléments une fois qu'ils nous auront été fournis. Voilà où nous en sommes aujourd'hui. Thomas, tu as une question de suivi.
Quand il dit, c'est pas nous, quand le président suisse dit, c'est pas nous qui nous freinons, donc il dit une chose qui ne correspond pas à la vérité. Mais est-ce que finalement vous avez eu des contacts, vous avez des plans pour vous voir bientôt à quelque niveau ou pas?
Je n'ai pas d'annonce à faire sur ce sujet. Nous attendons de la part des autorités suisses les éléments qu'ils nous ont promis sur les clarifications qu'ils souhaitent obtenir. De notre côté, nous continuons à insister sur le fait que nous attendons de la part des autorités suisses des avancées en ce qui concerne le processus d'adoption et de ratification de l'accord, nonobstant bien entendu ces éléments de clarification qui ont été demandés de la part de nos partenaires suisses. Voilà, je crois, sur ce sujet. Nous revenons à d'autres sujets de politique extérieure et je passe la parole à Nawab.
Yes, thank you. I would like to ask your reaction to the announcement by Israel yesterday to build 800 new housing units in occupied West Bank. Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you, Nawab. We understand that this has been an announcement and it has not been formalized yet, sorry, but it doesn't change our long-standing position. The EU is fundamentally opposed to the settlements, to the building and enlarging settlements. They are illegal from the point of view of the international law. And they also constitute an obstacle in the peace process. They constitute an obstacle in building trust between Israelis and Palestinians. And they also constitute a huge obstacle to building to the two-state solution. And the European Union calls on Israel to halt these activities and to focus on offering a vision of restarting the talks and rebuilding the trust instead of continuing the settlement expansions and building of settlements which are illegal under international law.
Thank you. Are there other questions for Peter on external affairs today? I see two hands raised. Patricia.
Thank you, Eric. Good morning. I would like to know if tomorrow, when Secretary of State Pompeo will be in town, will meet High Representative Borrell or somebody else from the EU Commission. Thank you.
The answer is no.
That was easy. Any other questions for us on foreign affairs today? I do not see any, so I open the floor again, and I think that Oliver had raised his hand. Oliver, Patricia, sorry, you have a follow-up on this?
Strange that nobody in the EU Commission is going to meet Pompeo. He never asked, or?
I'm sorry, Patricia, but we're not in the process of debating, the requests that we get, the answers that we give, etc. The fact is that there is no meeting planned between Secretary of State Pompeo and members of the college. Oliver, you have the floor.
Hello. Hi. Hello. Yeah, I would have questions on vaccination and this vaccination certificate that the Greek Prime Minister suggested in a letter to you, according to Politico. But could you maybe first take Petra's question on the financing of the Slovenian news wire, because that seems quite urgent and she can't sign up to your through the Intactio conferencing thing. So maybe if you could answer her question first, and then we get back to the vaccination thing, where there's going to be further questions as well, I guess.
Oliver, that's very, very gentlemanly of you to pass the floor to Petra, indeed, who seems to be having mic problems today. So with your permission, we will indeed then take her question if there is consensus on the fact that it is very urgent. So I will read to you the question as we have received it. How, when, and by whom will the decision be taken regarding the financing of the STA, so the Slovenian news agency? Will it be determined whether this financing, whether the conditions are met, whether the compensation can be granted without prior approval of the Commission? And is the Commission investigating the case? Will it produce the opinion on it or not? Can you please clarify regarding the procedure? I believe that these questions were already answered yesterday. I pass the floor again to Ariana to see if she can say anything else.
Hi, Eric. Hi, Petra. I hope you can hear me and see me. So perhaps I can add a couple of words with respect to what I have said yesterday. As I had mentioned, but just to recall, in general, stated rules do enable member states to grant aid to press agencies as compensation for services of general economic interest. And let me be clear, European rules cannot serve as an excuse to stop the funding of press agencies across the EU, clearly. Based on the available information, the amounts of financing for the Slovenian press agency are within the limits laid down in EU legislation. Furthermore, Slovenia has not indicated that any other relevant conditions specified in the rules for state aid for compensation of services of general economic interest would not be met. Therefore, it appears that the aid could be granted without the need of a prior notification to and approval by the Commission.
Thank you very much. Now, Oliver, we come back to you on vaccines.
Yeah, could you give us an outline of your thinking about this proposal by the Greek Prime Minister to introduce a European vaccination certificate that would, make it easier to board a plane, probably also to, enter public spaces. And I have another question on vaccination as well, but maybe we take this one first. Thank you.
Yeah, before I pass to Stefan, let me point out that the fact that a letter has been published in a media does not mean that we have actually received it, it seems. And as things turned out, we have received a letter formally only late morning. So obviously we are in the process of analyzing the content. But I pass the floor to Stefan on the issue more generally, and to Christian if you want to add something.
Yes, thank you. Maybe in addition to what Eric said, you know that the topics which have been raised in this letter, in addition to other topics relating to the rollout of the vaccination, will be discussed in the context of the European Council with the heads of state. And so it's of course important that we wait for the outcome of the discussions in the context of this meeting, this important meeting, that we will be in a position to indeed analyze and reply to the letter that has been received from the Prime Minister. Thank you.
Oliver, you had a second question on vaccines.
Yeah, I mean, regardless of the letter of the Greek Prime Minister, this debate around some sort of vaccination passport or certificate isn't new. So I assume you have some general lines of thinking about this. Could you give us an idea of whether you think it would be a good idea to maybe even discuss it, or do you think it's a bad idea because it would discriminate between people who are vaccinated and those who are not? Given especially since it's going to take quite some time until everyone gets a shot. And then I have another question on vaccination, but let's take this first maybe.
Oliver, thank you very much. But the fact is that, we are not at a phase where we can express views on this subject. There are many questions which are raised in the context of the response to the pandemic, straight across the board. We've had many questions here in the press room on one part of the strategy related to vaccines. Then there's a focus on the actual vaccination processes that are taking place in the member states. Then there will be what will we do once people have been vaccinated. As Stefan has just said, all of this is subject of discussions with member states. There will be next discussion next week during a VTC of leaders. We are going to prepare for that discussion, of course, but we are not in a position at this stage to discuss our thinking on this specific issue. I'm sorry. If we can come now to your next question on vaccines.
Yeah, sorry to bug you with so many issues today. It's
no problem.
The last one for today. Strictly speaking, it's not about vaccines. It's rather about traveling and the crisis. On the 19th of November, after one of the most recent video conferences of the leaders, President von der Leyen said, quote, our goal is that we will be ready with the passenger locator form until the end of the year. So the digital form that people have to fill out before they travel so that it can be traced and put under quarantine and so forth. Can you tell us where we are with that? Because I think so far there's no single European passenger locator form yet. And what are the reasons, if there are any, for the delay?
Thank you. I believe this is for Christian, but I'm not quite sure anymore. Christian.
No, it works. Well, I can tell you the latest that I have on this, but maybe Stefan has more to add. I have more general comment that passenger locator forms help member states, of course, to undertake risk assessment of arrivals and enable contact tracing. So they are important tools, and the Council has agreed to work towards such a common digital European passenger locator form. And work has been underway since July to develop this approach so that a common system can be put in place. So work is in full swing on a platform for the exchange of data between the digital passenger locator form systems of the member states, with the purpose to facilitating data exchange between member states and to enable also cross-border contact tracing. Each EU member state would have access only to their national data, and of course full respect of applicable data protection rules would have to be ensured. I have personally not a concrete timeline at hand, but maybe Stefan has something more to add there.
Stefan, is there anything we can add on the timeline?
Thank you. No, at this stage, no, but allow me to get back to Oliver. I will look into the actual timeline indeed of the work. I believe work has been progressed in a very important way, but I will have to come back on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's continue on the issue of, well, let's say the response to the pandemic more generally from a health perspective. Please only keep your hand raised if it is on this. And we have, I believe, Hetta Hassinen. Hello.
Yes, hello. Thank you. Hetta Hassinen from the Finnish News Agency. I have a question on vaccinations. So Prime Minister Sanna Marin sent a letter to Commission President von der Leyen yesterday and urged the Commission to speed up the distribution of vaccines. So I would like to hear what is the Commission's reaction to this letter, and is there anything the Commission could do or is already doing in order to speed up the vaccinations? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look, I'm not aware of this letter. We will have to check whether the letter has been received or whether it has been aired to the media before we have received it. And then we will, of course, answer the letter in due time. As to the vaccination process in general, well, you have heard the many answers that we have given here in the press room on the issue of the organization, both of the purchase of vaccines and then the vaccination process. And there was a hearing as well this morning of Sandra Gallina in the Envy Committee in Parliament, where she provided many answers on this. David, you have the floor, if it's on related issues.
Thanks, Eric. It's just about the College of Commissioners planned visit to Portugal on Friday, and whether in the context of a possible lockdown, if this is still considered prudent, if there's a decision might be taken that it's not wise to travel in bulk, in group at this time.
Commissioners don't really travel in bulk. They travel indeed in a group, as we've said, precisely because of the situation, the health situation. The number of members of the college who will be traveling to Portugal has been reduced. The delegation will therefore be a small delegation, and obviously we are working with our Portuguese hosts to ensure that the visit takes place taking into account and respecting all of the social distancing and other health measures that are required in view of the situation. Tommaso.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for the floor. It's just a question about Valneva, because I've seen that you have concluded exploratory talks for the vaccine with this 8th company in your portfolio. I would like to have, if it is possible, a bit more details. How many doses are you thinking about to purchase? And also, if you can update us, and with how many companies are you holding exploratory talks to get more vaccines? Thank you.
Stefan.
Thank you very much for this question. Do you hear me? Yes, I think so. As far as this, the finalization of the exploratory talks with Valneva is concerned, we agreed in this context on the reservation of 30 million doses with the option to buy an additional 30 million doses. So 30 plus 30, meaning 60 million doses. We have, as I explained in the beginning, concluded contracts with 6 companies, and we have finalized exploratory talks with 2 companies, Novavax and now also Valneva. And that's what I can say in terms of the ongoing work with the different pharmaceutical companies. The objective always is to establish a diversified portfolio with different companies and different technologies. Thank you.
Thank you. Follow-up question from Tommaso.
Yes, very short. Just to know if you are holding exploratory talks with other companies. I don't know. I don't want to know how many, but are you holding exploratory talks with other companies? Thank you.
I think that Stefan has answered this question. Stefan.
Yes, no, indeed. What I can say is what I have just said. We are having, we finalized exploratory talks with 2 companies. We have concluded contracts with 6. We're not in the habit of naming companies with whom we may still have negotiations or not. The situation now is that exploratory talks have been finalized with 2 companies, Novavax and Valneva, and we have contracts with 6 others. Thank you.
Thank you. I pass the floor to Bart. Still on vaccines, vaccination, etc.
Thanks, Eric. The Commission is negotiating with Moderna on a second contract. Is it correct that Moderna is seeking a price twice as high as with the first contract? And if yes, what are the reasons?
I don't believe that we will go into any discussion on ongoing negotiations. Stefan.
Indeed, we have no comments on negotiations, whether ongoing or not. And we also, as you know, Bart, we don't have comments on prices. Prices are covered by confidentiality clauses, which has been explained on numerous occasions in this press meeting room. So we do not comment on that either. Thank you.
Lukáš.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
ECDC informed me yesterday that in collaboration with member states and the European Commission is currently establishing a system to monitor vaccine deployment in the European Union. So could you give us more detail about this system, how it will work and when it will be established? And my second question, could you present data how many people were already vaccinated in the European Union? Thank you.
Stefan.
Thank you very much. This question was also raised, by the way, in today's hearing with Mrs. Sandra Gallina, and I would invite you to consult or check out the website of the European Parliament, where you will find the answers of Mrs. Gallina, who indeed refers to the fact that such a system is being developed with ECDC, and which would allow, on the basis of regular monitoring of the member state situation, to have a better idea on the state of play of the vaccinations. But again, I invite you to check out the replies given by Mrs. Gallina on that occasion. Thank you.
I believe Yanis has a question as well. Mic source, Yanis. Nope, it's not working today for some reason. Go ahead again. Try again. Go ahead.
No?
Yes, now it's working.
Yep. Okay. It's a question about the investigation by Olaf of Frontex. I wanted to ask if
sorry,
it is...
Sorry, Yanis, but we're on vaccines and vaccination. So if you don't
sorry,
mind...
we're done with vaccines. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
I've asked people only to keep their hand raised on vaccines. We'll come back to you afterwards. I see one further hand raised, I suppose, on vaccines and vaccination. Angela. Yes, Angela, yes. This time I get it right.
Yes. Good morning. Yes, my question is on vaccines. Then I have another question on Italy, but maybe I can do it later. On vaccines, following the phone call between Angela Merkel and Vladimir Putin on the production of vaccines, are there any plans to open exploratory talks with the Russian company for the Sputnik vaccines, also for using it in Europe besides Hungary, which is the only European country that is using the Russian vaccine? Thank you.
Stefan.
Thank you very much, Angela. On this Russian vaccine candidate, I can only tell you that this stage talks are ongoing between the company and EMA. The company has not yet submitted, or has not submitted, a request for a market authorization. But as I said, EMA is in exploratory talks, I would say, with the Russian vaccine developer, and that is the stage we are at. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I do not see any further questions, and I will read out the question from Michel Winde, who also has problems today, it seems, with his mic. So his question: in Germany, a group of linguists has chosen the Commission's creation, return sponsorship, as a nonsense word for the year 2020. According to the jury, it is cynical and euphemistic. What is your reaction on that? This is a question, I believe, for Adalbert.
Indeed, and thank you for this question. Return sponsorship is a new policy concept, and therefore it may indeed raise questions of comprehension. We've tried in our communication on the new Pact on Migration and Asylum to be very transparent as to what this concept it means and implies. So when it comes to the question of whether this is a term that is cynical or euphemistic, maybe I can simply recall some basics of the policy and the fact that first of all, returns are a very important aspect of good migration management. When somebody doesn't have the right to stay in the EU, they need to return, of course, in full compliance with fundamental rights and the dignity. Return sponsorship is a way in which, when a member state is not able to itself return the people who need to be returned from their territory, they can receive assistance from other member states, which also then creates additional space in the reception system of the member state that receives assistance, and therefore that also creates that is also a tangible sign of solidarity between member states and contributes to good migration management in Europe. Of course, if you have, or indeed if anyone has any further questions about return sponsorships, we're very happy to explain this concept further.
Thank you. I think that's a good segue to Yanis's question on Frontex. Yanis, you have the floor.
Great, thank you, Eric. Yes, my question is, A, can you tell us if the investigation by Olaf of Frontex is related in any way to the allegations of pushbacks on the Greek border with Turkey and possible Frontex involvement in them? And secondly, does the executive director of Frontex retain the confidence and the support of the Commission? Thank you.
Adalbert.
Thank you, Yanis. I think you will understand that I am not in a position to comment in any way on the content or the context of the investigation by Olaf. The Olaf spokesperson has confirmed the existence of this investigation, but I am not able to provide any further information. Of course, as in the case of any investigation by Olaf of any European body, we expect full cooperation. As to the question of the confidence in the executive director, yes, we are confident that with the processes that are set up by the management board, and with the cooperation of the executive director, all the issues that are currently being discussed can be addressed constructively, and the Commission is willing to work on this with the management board and the executive director.
Questions for Adalbert on migration-related issues today? I see one hand raised. Georgi.
Oui, merci. Je voulais rebondir sur le return sponsorship. Donc, en français, ça s'appelle parrainage en matière de retour. Hein? Moi, la question que je me pose, c'est que assez souvent, il arrive que la Commission européenne, l'Union européenne en général, ont des problèmes de communication. Et tout à l'heure, tu as donné la parole à Adalbert, mais je pense que c'était une question plutôt pour toi, c'est-à-dire pourquoi est-ce qu'on arrive à des situations lorsque des formules maladroites amènent à des situations lorsque on décerne un prix pour imbécilité générale, alors qu'il s'agit d'une politique européenne qui est légitime. Voilà. Donc, est-ce que ton service, Eric, joue un rôle, ou bien vous subissez les critiques comme il se passe aujourd'hui? Merci.
Merci Georgi pour cette question aussi profonde. Je pense que les institutions publiques en général sont habituées à ce que les questions de communication soient des questions délicates. N'oublie pas en plus que notre institution travaille dans un contexte multilingue et que c'est donc une tâche encore plus ardue à la Commission européenne qu'ailleurs. Tu nous fais honneur en disant que notre service peut contribuer positivement à définir quels sont les termes qui devraient être utilisés en matière de définition de concepts. Mais une chose est claire, rien dans ce qu'a dit Adalbert ne laisse entendre que nous acceptions cette critique. Il s'agit d'un concept clair. Le terme qui a été utilisé le décrit, et c'est donc un terme qui joue le rôle qui lui a été attribué. Y a-t-il d'autres questions pour nous aujourd'hui? David.
Oui, merci Eric. Je voulais demander à Ariane si la Commission a envoyé une lettre au gouvernement italien sur Alitalia. Quel est le contenu de cette lettre et quand est-ce qu'il y aura des discussions avec le gouvernement pour finalement prendre une décision? Merci.
Ariane.
Bonjour David, merci Eric. Donc, je ne peux pas dire beaucoup par rapport à ça qu'on a déjà dit dans la salle de presse. Nous n'avons aucun commentaire à faire sur les articles de presse qu'on a vus aujourd'hui. Comme vous le savez très bien, la Commission est en contact avec les autorités italiennes à ce sujet et nous ne pouvons pas commenter les discussions en cours maintenant.
Follow-up, David.
Oui, vu que la commissaire avait elle a plusieurs fois dit qu'une décision était attendue bientôt, soon, very soon, et je cite, est-ce qu'on peut s'attendre à une décision et quand?
Ariane.
David, malheureusement, comme j'ai dit, on est en contact et on ne peut pas préjuger maintenant les résultats et le timing de ce contact. Donc, je peux vraiment rien ajouter maintenant, désolée.
Y a-t-il d'autres questions concurrence pour Ariana aujourd'hui? Please only keep your hand raised if it's a competition question. Angela, you have another question on competition.
No, it's not on competition. It's about Italy. I don't know if I can do it now or you can.
Well, I don't see any other hand raised, so we will consider the competition chapter closed. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Eric. Italy is entering a new phase of political instability. Today is the day in which a formal government crisis could be open. I know you don't want to comment on national issues, political issues usually, but maybe this could be a different case, as Italy has the responsibility of the recovery fund for more than 200 billion euros, so has the biggest part in this. And so a problem of political instability in Italy could be a European affair, because if Italy doesn't succeed with the recovery fund will not do well, and so it could be a European problem. That's why I wanted to ask a comment on this. Thanks.
Thank you, but you're absolutely right that we do not comment on the political situation within the member states. We are working with the Italian authorities that are in place and will continue to do so, and we have full trust in the fact that Italy will do its utmost to present and roll out a national recovery plan in order to benefit from the European funds of Next Generation EU when they are available, and we have no further comment to make on this. Are there other questions for us today? I do not see any, so let me thank you for your participation, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Thank you.